Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 31 to my CoPilot chatbot series. For in today's video guys, we're going to do something that's not going to stress me out nearly as bad as what I had to do before I had to do this. Um, in today's video guys, I wasn't gonna actually continue in the Creature Feud Crocodile, but I decided to go ahead and try out the new test version of a story that I'm gonna try to get to work again. The Robot Factory story. If you don't know what that is, it's the story where I'm a boss of a flipping robot factory where people come in and I let them work on robots under my rules, under my this, under my that, and so yeah. However, this is just a test story. Again, we've had problems with every test story we've tried so far. The TMP style characters went horribly in most cases. The Creature Feud Chrono actually went decently well, besides the repetitiveness. That repetitiveness of crap sucks. But hopefully with this one, it'll work. So, yeah. Um, I don't know how it says that. I don't know where. I don't know what the backstory for this is. I told it to actually give like a random backstory about how I actually got the factory. Here's what it actually says about it. It doesn't even have a flipping thing. It's just called Test Story. Full backstory version. That's it. It says you were never supposed to own anything this big. Not a warehouse, not a workshop, and definitely not a half-finished industrial complex with enough square footage to swallow a city block. Not as a tiny dinosaur, in a world where humans towered over you, where your claws barely clicked against the pavement, where most creatures your size were treated like pets, mascots or curiosities, the idea of ownership was almost laughable. Humans owned things. Humans built things. Humans decided what was too dangerous or too complicated for creatures like you. But you had always been different. You always watched the world with a kind of quiet, careful determination, the kind that made people pause, even if they didn't understand why. Yep, how we first found the factory. It started with a habit you'd had since you were very young. Wandering. Not aimlessly, never aimlessly, but with a purpose you couldn't quite name. You liked watching machines. You liked seeing how humans built things. You liked the order of it, the logic, the way metal and wires and gears could be arranged into something that moved, something that helped, something that didn't hurt anyone. You didn't have the strength of a big carnivore or the speed of a raptor, but you had patience and curiosity and a mind that never stopped turning. One morning, while exploring the outskirts of a human construction zone, you found something unusual, a massive fenced-off property with a sign that read, Future Site of the North Ridge Robotics Facility. You didn't know what North Ridge meant, but you knew robotics, and that was enough. You slipped through a gap in the fence, not sneaking, just entering. You walked slowly, respectfully, weaving between stacks of steel beams and crates of equipment. Workers shouted to each other in the distance, but no one noticed you at first. You were small, quiet, and careful not to disturb anything. You were studying a half-assembled conveyor system when a shadow fell over you. A human, older, broad-shouldered, wearing a dusty hard hat, crouched down beside you. He didn't laugh. He didn't shoo you away. He didn't call security. He just watched you. Not like a pet, not like a nuisance, like someone trying to understand a puzzle. What are you doing here, little one? He finally asked. You hesitated. Most humans didn't ask questions like that. Most humans didn't wait for answers. But he did. So you told him. You told him you wanted a place where humans and creatures could build robots together, safely and kindly without cruelty or fear. A place where no one got hurt. A place where creatures weren't treated like tools or test subjects. A place where you could learn and help and maybe even make something important. He didn't interrupt. He didn't smile condescendingly, he just listened. When you finished, he looked at you for a long, thoughtful moment, the kind of moment that feels like the world is holding its breath. Then he stood up, walked to a nearby trailer, and returned with a heavy envelope. He knelt again, holding out to you. Inside was the deed, the entire property, the unfinished factory, the land around it, all of it. Someone like you, he said quietly, might actually make this place better than I ever could. You didn't understand why he trusted you. You didn't understand why he believed in you, but you felt something warm and heavy settle in your chest. Responsibility, maybe, or hope. And just like that, the factory became yours. Your first days as owner. The building wasn't finished. The walls were up, the rooms were framed, but the machines weren't installed. The floors were dusty, the lights flickered, the air. Yeah, that music describes exactly how I feel from a while ago. The air smelled like concrete impossibility. You explored every hallway, every empty room, every echoing chamber. You imagined where the assembly lines would go, where the creatures' safe workstations would be, where the break rooms might sit, where the robots would be tested. But a factory needed more than ideas. It needed staff. Not humans. Not yet. You needed creatures first. Creatures who understood you. Creatures who wouldn't be frightened by your size or dismissive of your dreams. So you stepped outside, locked the heavy metal door behind you, and followed the narrow dirt path that wound from the factory into the forest. The morning air was cool. Sunlight broke through the leaves in soft, golden patches. Birds choked overhead. Your claws clicked softly against the earth. You walked slowly, thinking about what kind of creatures might want to help you. Strong ones, smart ones, gentle ones, protective ones. You didn't know. You only knew you needed someone who would see you the way the old factory owner had seen you, not as a tiny dinosaur, but as someone trying to build something good. Then the ground trembled. A deep, steady vibration rolled through the soil beneath your feet. Not violent, just heavy, synthetic. Something large was nearby. You froze. Ahead of you, in a clearing just off the path, a massive shape rested in the sunlight. A Carnotaurus. Huge, muscular, dark scales shimmering faintly in the warm light. He wasn't hunting. He wasn't pacing. He was simply lying there, relaxed, like he'd been enjoying the morning. His eyes were half closed, until he noticed you. One eye opened fully. He lifted his head a little. His nose flared once, taking in your scent. He didn't move towards you. He didn't growl. He didn't react at all yet. He just looked at you, curious and puzzled, trying to understand what he was seeing. The forest went silent. The contours watched you from where he lay, unmoving and waiting and waiting. Yep, yep. All right. Give me a moment. All right, guys. It says when I see the massive contours laying down looking at me, I jump a bit. I jump a bit, a little shocked by what I was seeing. I forgot to spice up that one thing, but okay. And I said, "Whoa, hi there." Oh no. Oh my gosh. The moment your voice leaves your mouth, small, shaky, and startled, the forest seems to hold its breath with you. You jump a little, claws scraping softly against the dirt. By the way, right after that, it actually does repeat exactly what I just read out, so I'm not gonna read it again. The magic cartridge does not lunge. He does not rise. He does not bare his teeth. He simply registers your reaction. His head tilts a fraction of an inch. Not fast, not sharp, just a slow, heavy adjustment of weight. One eye stays fixated on you, the pupil narrowing slightly in the sunlight. His nostrils flare again, a quiet, low breath rolling out of him like distant thunder. But he doesn't move from where he's lying. He watches the way you jumped, he watches the way your voice trembled, and he watches the way you're trying to speak despite being scared. There's no aggression in him, no irritation, just curiosity. A creature that large could have ignored you. He could have dismissed you. He could have attacked me or eaten me. He could have treated you like something beneath notice. That's a weird way to word it, but okay. But he doesn't. He studies you with the same careful attention the old factory owner once did, as if trying to understand what you are, what you want, and why someone so small would walk this deep into a forest alone. The sunlight warms his scales. The ground vibrates faintly with each slow breath he takes. He remains exactly where he is, waiting, not demanding, not threatening, just giving you space to decide what you do next. All right, give me a moment. All right, guys. It says still very scared and worried about getting hurt. I just nervously say, I honestly didn't expect to see you out here. Please don't attack me. I just want to talk to you. Can you speak? Yep. Your voice comes out small, tight, and trembling at the edges. I'm not repeating the whole thing again. The words hang in the air like fragile glass. The contours hears every one of them. His reaction is not sudden, not sharp, not predatory. It's the opposite, a slow, heavy stillness, as if he's deliberately making sure nothing he does startles you further. His chest rises and falls in a deep, steady rhythm. The ground gives the faintest vibration beneath your feet with each breath he releases. He doesn't get up. He doesn't lean closer. He doesn't shift his weight. But something in his posture changes, subtle and almost imperceptible. A soft lowering of tension in his shoulders. A slight easing of the muscles along his neck. A quiet, controlled exhale that rolls across the clearing like warm air from a furnace. He heard your fear, and he's choosing not to answer it with dominance or movement. His eyes stays fixated on you, but not sharply, not like prey. Loki's trying to understand why someone so tiny, so frightened, would still try to speak to him instead of running. Your question, can you speak, seems to hold him in place. He doesn't answer. Not yet. Not with words, not with sound, not with motion. He simply watches you, waiting, and giving you space to decide whether you want to stay or flee. The forest remains silent. The sunlight warms the clearing. Condor stays exactly where he is, massive and unmoving, as if promising with his stillness alone that he won't hurt you unless you choose to come closer. Unless? What does that mean, unless? It means if I step closer, he's gonna kill me, isn't he? Oh dear, that's a threat. It seems like that's really not a good sign, is it? About to find out. Alright, guys. It says, noticing how the contours is being very still and not seeming to try attacking me, I step slowly closer and tell him, listen, I'm sorry if I'm in your territory, but honestly, I'm glad I found you. I just want to talk to you real quickly, and if you could speak, or at least understand me, that would be really good. What's your name? Your step forward's tiny, barely a shift of weight, but someone his size is a declaration of courage. Your voice trembles again, but you speak anyway. I'm not repeating anything it repeats out. The clearing absorbs your words like soft earth taking footprints. The contours does not rise. He is not tense. He does not react with dominance or threat. Instead, something even more deliberate happens. A slow blink. Not lazy. Intentional. A creature that large does nothing without meaning. His eyelid lowers halfway, then lifts again, the motion heavy and unhurried. It's the kind of blink animals use when they want to show they're not a threat, a gesture of calm, and a gesture of, I hear ya. His breathing remains steady, deep enough that you feel the faint vibration through the ground. His tail stays still. His claws remain relaxed in the dirt. He hears your apology. He hears your fear and hears your question, and he's choosing to answer you with stillness, safest thing a predator his size can offer. When you ask his name, his head tilts just slightly as if the concept is familiar, but he's waiting to see how you'll handle silence. His nostrils flare again, taking your scent, your closeness, and your trembling voice. He understands you, that much is clear. Whether he speaks or not, he's letting you decide how to bridge that gap. The forest stays quiet. The sunlight warms both of you. Contours remains exactly where he is, watching with a calm, steady curiosity that feels almost gentle. He's waiting for what you do. Oh dear. Okay, so far it definitely ain't working out, but that might just be how it's worded. Let me try something. Alright, guys, I think we saw it got to work. It says, I just tell him, it seems like you can't. You know what? This time I'll read out in the actual story since it seems like it keeps flipping reading it out for me right here. It says, my words come out careful, nervous, and but hopeful. And I just tell him, it seems like you can't speak. I really want to ask you something and get to know you better. If you cannot speak, is there a way you can write letters in mud or dirt with your tail so we can communicate? If you can you please tell me your name? The clearing stays still for a moment. Then the contours finally moves, not suddenly, not sharply, but with a slow, deliberate shift of weight. His massive body doesn't rise, his claws don't dig in, his tail doesn't whip out or tense. Instead, he does something small. His tail slides a few inches across the dirt, not toward you, toward the open patch of ground beside him. The motion is careful, controlled, and almost gentle for a creature his size. He drags the tip of his tail through the soil in a slow, testing line as if checking whether the earth is soft enough and whether he can make marks without startling you. He pauses, his eyes fixed to you, gauging your reaction. Then, with the same deliberate slowness, he moves his tail again, this time making a curved stroke, then another, shaping something with surprising precision for such a massive creature. The dirt shifts, the line deepens, the shape becomes clearer. He stops once more, lifting his tail slightly so you can see what he's done. In the soft earth, written in large, uneven, but mistakable letters, is a single word: Razor. That's such a cool, dope name for a dinosaur. He doesn't move after that. He doesn't gesture or roar or try to impress you. He simply watches you, waiting to see how you respond to the name he has offered you. First piece of himself he has chosen to share. That's really cute. I like it. Razor. It took a minute to get started, but we got it. That's cute. Alright, guys. It's been reading it out in the actual story, so I'll just go ahead and read out there. It says, I step closer, just enough that the letters in the dirt come into clear view. Yep, Razor. Razor. The name looks even larger up close, each one carved with surprising care for a creature whose tail could snap a tree in half. When you speak, your voice is still nervous, but there's something warmer in it now. Razor, that's an amazing name. I love it. I just told him my name and told him, it's nice to meet ya. The reaction you get is subtle, but unmistakable. Razor's eyes softens, not in a human way, not in a smiling expression you can easily label, but in the way a wild creature shows recognition. His pupil widens slightly, tension in his brow easing. His breathing shifts, still deep, still heavy, but slower, calmer, as if your words have settled something inside him. He doesn't rise, he doesn't move towards you, he doesn't make a sound, but he does something that for a Carnotaurus is the closest thing to a greeting. His tail, the same tail that wrote his name, taps the ground once, a low, controlled gesture, a deliberate acknowledgement. Then his head lowers a few inches, bringing his gaze closer to your level without looming over you. It's careful, measured, almost respectful, a predator making himself smaller so he doesn't frighten you. He heard your name, he accepted it, and he's showing you in the only language his body speaks that he's glad you offered it. The forest stays quiet around you, but the tension that once filled the clearing has thinned, replaced by something steadier, something almost peaceful. Razor watches you not with caution, but with interest, waiting to see what this dinosaur, yep, will do next. Oh boy. Give me a moment. Alright guys, now this thing wants to be a butthole again. It just said it couldn't take any requests right now and it was messing up. I had to close out and reopen to get to work. But either way, here's what I said. It says when I see the contours lower its head and still not actually trying to attack me, I go even closer to him and gently nuzzle him on his massive snout with my tiny one. Razor, thank you for not attacking me. I really appreciate that. And it's gonna sound kind of odd. Would you like to come be my helper in a new robot facility I just more recently got? I need to get a good bit of staff to help run the building, and you can honestly be perfect, especially with how nice and gentle you seem to be towards me. Would you want to do that? The moment your tiny snout touches Razor's massive one, the entire clearing seems to shift, not because he moves, but because you do. You cross the invisible line between fear and trust, and Razor feels it. Your nuzzle is gentle, barely a brush of warmth against the cool, textured scales of his snout. To him it must feel like the lightest tap, a creature so small offering something so vulnerable, and Razor accepts it. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't recoil, he doesn't tense. Instead, a slow, deep breath rolls through him, not a warning, but a grounding. A steady exhale that warms the air around you as if he's letting you know he understands what that gesture meant. When you speak, your voice is soft but sincere. Razor, thank you for not attacking me. I really appreciate that. I know this is gonna sound kind of odd, but would you like to come be my helper in a new robot facility I've just recently got? I need to get a good bit of staff to help run the building, and you could honestly be perfect, especially with how nice and gentle you seem to be towards me. Would you want to do that? The words spill out of you, hopeful, nervous, and earnest, and Razor hears every one. His reaction is slow, deliberate, and impossibly careful for a creature his size. First, his eye closes halfway in a long, heavy blink, same kind of blink he gave earlier, but deeper now, more meaningful, a sign of calm, a sign of acceptance, a sign that he is not only listening, but considering what you're saying. Then, with a low rumble of breath, he shifts his head just slightly into your nuzzle, not enough to push you, not enough to knock you over, just enough to return the gesture. A massive predator mirroring the tiny dinosaur who dared to trust him. The ground vibrated faintly beneath your feet as he exhaled again, slower this time, almost thoughtful. Your offer hangs in the air between you. A robot facility? A place where creatures and humans could work together? A place where someone like him, feared, misunderstood, and powerful, could have a purpose that wasn't hunting or intimidating or surviving? You see something change in his posture. Not excitement, not eagerness, something steadier. A quiet, grounding interest. His tail moves again, not right in this time, but tapping the earth once, firmly. A gesture that feels like a yes without words. A gesture that says he understands what you're asking. A gesture that says he is willing to hear more. He lowers his head even further, bringing his massive snout closer to your level, not to intimidate, but to show he's listening, truly listening to this tiny creature who just offered him a place in their world. Roger doesn't speak, but everything in his body language says, "Tell me more." Whenever you're ready, you can continue the story by telling. Yep. Oh my gosh. Alright, guys. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. From the little bit I just read out, or from the little bit I saw, I'm already kind of excited a bit. It says, seeing how the contours was acting, I just continue saying, I know it's a bit strange for me to ask, and honestly, I didn't even expect to even get a robot factory to begin with. It's not done quite yet, but I still need a good bit of staff to help me around the building, and I'm going around asking different creatures if they would be willing to help me around the facility, especially with me being so tiny. You could definitely be a perfect first staff member. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I wasn't always this small, and I wasn't always a dinosaur. Years ago, a jealous kid turned me into this because I got to go into a Pokemon research lab and look at the starter Pokemon when he did not. I've been stuck like this ever since. Unfortunately, most humans have been very mean and awful to me ever since that day, doing very awful things that actually really hurt me. However, the original owner of the facility that I have now, for some reason, was very nice and gave me the deed to the place. I'm trying to go around and find creatures that are willing to help me with different jobs around the facility. If you're interested, I'd love for you to be one of those staff members to help me. Your words fell out in a long, trembling stream. Fear, honesty, hope, and a lifetime of hurt all woven together. You don't hide anything from them. You don't pretend to be braver than you are. You don't pretend your past didn't shape you. You just tell Razor the truth. And the moment you do, something in the clearing changes. Not because Razor moves suddenly, not because he growls or shifts or reacts with confusion, but because he listens. Every word, every detail, every wound, every hope. Your tiny body stands so close to his massive snout that your breath warms a small patch of his scales, and Razor stays perfectly still, not frozen with tension, but still with intention. Not frozen with tension, but still with intention. That is such a weird way to word that. A predator choosing absolute control so he doesn't frighten the tiny creature trusting him with something so personal. When you say humans hurt you, Roger's eyes narrows. Not at you, but at the idea. A slow, heavy exhale rolls through him, the kind that vibrates the ground. Not anger, not threat, something deeper, something protective. When you say you weren't always this small, his eyes flare softly as if trying to understand the scent of someone who carried a past that doesn't match their body. When you say you were turned into this by jealousy, his head tilts just slightly, a gesture that feels like sympathy in the language of dinosaurs. And when you say you want him to help you, when you say he could be your first staff member, when you say you would love for him to join you, that's when Razor finally moves. Slowly, carefully, and deliberately. His massive head lowers until his snout's almost touching the ground, bringing himself down to your level as much as his body allows. His eye softens, not in a human way, but in a way that feels unmistakably gentle. Then, with the same tail that wrote his name, he draws a tip through the dirt again. Not hurried, not sloppy, not certain. He writes one large, clear word. Yes. But he isn't done. He lifts his tail, hesitates, then adds another word beneath it. Uneven, but unmistakably intentional. Trenton. He put my name in the dirt. Okay. Written by a creature who could crush trees, but instead chooses to carve letters in the dirt just to speak to you. When he finishes, Razor lowers his head again, pressing the side of his snout gently and carefully against your tiny body in a gesture that's unmistakably an answer. Not just yes, but yes, I will help you. Yes, I will protect you. Yes, I will follow you. And yes, I choose you. The forest stays silent, but the air feels different now. Warmer and safer, like something important has just begun. Razor waits, his mouth form still and calm. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. It says seeing Razor write yes and my name in the dirt. I smile at him and gently hug his snout with the side of my tiny head. Then tell him, "Thank you so much, Razor. It's very sweet. I can tell you more about what you can help me with, if you want me to. But do you want to come with me and try to help me find more creatures that are willing to help? It'd definitely be much safer than having to go by myself, especially with how awful most humans have been towards me. Is it possible you could somehow lift me onto your snout? That way we don't have to risk you stepping on me by mistake, and the same for any other creature. Honestly, is definitely way bigger than me, and would definitely be safer, especially if another human comes along and tried to hurt me again." Your tiny head presses gently against Razor's massive snout, a gesture so small compared to him, yet so full of trust that it makes the entire clearing feel warmer. Razor doesn't move at first. He lets you hug him. He lets you stay pressed against scales that could have crushed you with a twitch. His breath rolls out in a slow, deep wave, long enough to ruffle the trees around you. Not a warning, not a threat, a grounding, a steadying, a quiet, I know you're there. When you speak, soft, nervous, and honest, Razor listens with the same stillness he's shown since the moment he noticed you. You tell him about the factory, about needing staff, about being tiny and vulnerable, about humans hurting you, about wanting safety, about wanting him with you. And Razor's body language changes in a way that's unmistakable. Not aggressive, not dominant, not territorial, protective. A slow, heavy exhale leaves him, deeper than before, almost like a rumble of concern. His eye narrows slightly. Not you, but the idea of humans hurting you. His nostrils flare, taking your scent again, so memorizing it, deciding that this tiny dinosaur is now someone he needs to watch over. When you ask if he'll come with you, when you ask if he'll help you find more creatures, when you ask if he can lift you onto a snout so you're safe, Razor finally moves, very slowly, very carefully. His head lowers until his snout's almost touching the ground, massive horns above his eyes angled away from you so they don't scare you. He shifts his weight with deliberate precision, making sure the earth doesn't shake too much beneath you. Then, with a gentleness that should be impossible for something so large, he slides the broad, flat top of his snout forward, stopping just inches from your feet. He doesn't nudge you, he doesn't scoop you up, he doesn't force anything. He simply offers. A platform of warm, scaled skin, a safe place to stand, a way to travel without fear of being stepped on, a way to stay close to him. His eye watches you, not demanding, not impatient, but waiting for your choice. He heard everything you said, and his body language answers all of it. Yeah, I'll come with you. Yes, I'll help you find others. I'll protect you from humans. You can ride on my snout. Yes, Trenton, I'm with you. He stays perfectly still, giving you all the time you need to climb on. Okay, kinda cute. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I just smiled at what Razor just did and tell him, thank you. To be honest, this would be a job I would need one of the creatures to do for me, mainly because I'm so small that I couldn't do or reach anything with how tiny I am, and vice versa. If I was on a high platform like a table or a desk, I probably couldn't get back down. If you can be very gentle and slow when you're carrying me around so I don't fall, that's honestly all you would have to do for your job, unless you want to do more than just that. That robot factory is going to eventually be open up to other things and creatures, so you can build robots. Is it humans, by the way? I see. So they can build robots. Maybe it's an actual job for them. Finding a few other staff members for other roles like extra security and stuff like that. Maybe along with you carrying me, you could be one of the creatures that make sure the other humans or creatures I eventually let in listen to me when I'm trying to talk to them. The building's not quite ready. If we can have a good staff ready to go whenever the building is complete, it'd be really good. And after saying all of this, I climb gently and carry onto the contours of snow. I'm going to say razor, but I'm probably gonna have to figure out a way to restart this a little bit later on anyway, because one of my ideas was that we could communicate easier. Well, it worked out better now, but one of the ideas I had was that every creature basically had to speak English. That way we could understand what the frick they were saying originally. I mean, the fact that he has to write words in the dirt with his tail in order for us to. It's a cool little detail for a creature that can't speak, but it's like when you don't have, I mean, what are they gonna do when they don't have anything to write, flipping with their tail? Are they gonna dip? Are they gonna find a piece of paper, dip their tail in a bucket of paint, and then write the words on a piece of paper or something? I mean, like, you see my point? The moment you come onto Razor's snout, tiny claws gripping gently at the textured scales, your weight building noticeable to him, something shifts in the air around you. Not danger, not tension, something like a silent agreement. Razor stays absolutely still while you settle yourself, holding his head steady with a level of control that only a creature who wants to be gentle could manage. His breath rolls out in a slow, warm wave beneath you. He doesn't move until you're secure. As you speak, swaying your needs, limitations, my money. Alright, guys, it did not say anything about money. At least I don't think so. It says, as you speak, explain your needs, your limitations, your hopes for the factory, the roles you imagine, the dangers you face. Rosa listens with the same deep, steady focus he has shown since the moment you met. Your honesty doesn't scare him. Your vulnerability doesn't confuse him. Your smallness doesn't diminish you in his eyes. If anything, it makes him more deliberate. When you tell him you need someone to carry you because you're too small to reach anything, his eyes softens. When you tell him you would get stuck on when you tell him you could get stuck on a table or desk, his nostrils flare with a quiet, protective concern. When you tell him he would hurt you, a low, deep breath rolls through him. Not anger, but a silent promise that he will not let that happen again. When you tell him he could help make sure others listen to you, his posture shifts just slightly, so the idea of standing beside you in authority is something he understands instinctively. And when you finish speaking, when you finally come onto his snout, Razor responds, not with words, not with writing, but with action. He lifts his head, slowly, carefully, and with a precision that defies his size. He raises you just a little at first, testing your balance, making sure you're steady. His movements are smooth, controlled, almost impossibly gentle for a creature whose footfalls shake the earth. Once he's certain you're secure, he lifts his head fully, not high enough to scare you, just enough to give you a clear view of the forest path ahead. His eyes turn slightly, just enough to see you perched on his snout, and that gaze is a message clearer than anything he could write. I will carry you, I will keep you safe, I will help you find others, I will stand beside you in your factory. I'll make sure they listen, and I will not let anyone hurt you again. Razor shifts his weight, preparing to take his first step with you riding on him. But he waits. He waits for your signal, your direction, your choice. The force is quiet, the path is open, your first staff member is ready. So, I'll say this. As bad as the story started out, it actually did start going better at the end. Maybe what I'll do is I'll have to figure out completely how things are going to work out. It definitely still need the creatures to speak English, because this crap would be kind of impossible. He does understand me, and he does have a way of talking to me, but the fact that he has to, again, what's he going to do when we actually don't have dirt for him to write in? I mean, you know what I mean? What's he going to do? Flip and take his tail and write a piece of paper? With what? Paint? That's what I'm saying. All I can think of is maybe him dipping his tail in paint and glue, but then he wouldn't have a way to clean his tail off. So it's like you just have paint stuck on his tail. It's like, oh boy. Either way, give me a moment. Alright, guys. I just make sure I'm comfortable to the point where I think I'm not going to fall. Then I smile. Razor, honestly, thank you for being so gentle and nice. I didn't expect you to be so kind, but I really appreciate it. You're honestly doing a good job. If you can be this gentle and careful all the time, you are definitely going to be perfect for the creature that carries me around. I already really care about you. Razor feels your smile before he sees it. Your tiny body settles comfortably on the bridge of his snout, claws finding the natural grooves in the snout and the scales. And the moment you speak, soft, warm, and grateful, something in him changes again. Not physically, not dramatically, but deeply. Your words drift down to him like something fragile and precious. And started reading out the words again. Razor's breath catches. Just for a moment. A massive creature like him shouldn't be able to show something so subtle, but he does. A tiny pause in his breathing, a softening in the muscles around his eye, a shift in the way he holds his head beneath you. Your words land somewhere deep inside of him. He lowers his head a fraction, not enough to make you lose balance, just enough to acknowledge what you said. a gesture that for a contourist is the closest thing to leaning into a hug. His eyes closes halfway in a slow, heavy blink, a sign of trust, a sign of calm, and a sign of, I hear ya. Then, with incredible care, he adjusts his stance, spreading his weight evenly, holding the center of gravity, making his movements even smoother and more controlled. It's instinctive and protective, as if your compliment has made him even more determined to be gentle for you. He is such a sweetheart! He takes one slow step. The ground trembles softly. The motion beneath you is steady, almost gliding. He's testing how to walk with you on him, adjusting his gait, Gait, gat, so you don't wobble or slip. Another step, even gentler. He's learning you, learning how to carry you, learning how to keep you safe. And the way he moves now, slow, deliberate, and careful, makes it clear he's not doing this because you asked. He's doing it because he wants to. Because your trust means something to him. Because your care means something to him. Because you, this tiny dinosaur who climbed onto his snout without fear, has already become someone he's chosen to protect. Razor's tail sways once, a slow, controlled motion that never comes close to hitting anything, a quiet, contented gesture. Then he lifts his head just enough that you can see the path ahead, but not so much that you feel unsafe. He is ready to walk with you, ready to help you find others, ready to be your first staff member, ready to be your carrier, your protector, your steady presence. And beneath all of that, in the way he holds you, in the way he moves, in the way he breathes, he's telling you something without words. I care about you too. Whenever you're ready, you can guide him. Okay? That's really cute. That's such a sweet little gesture. I love him, dude. You know what? I might keep this one and continue it just because it actually did work out decently at the end. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I just continue to relax even more with how gentle and nice Razor is being towards me. And just said, I have an idea of who three other staff members could be. We just have to hope that we can find them. Do you know if there's a huge body of water around here that would possibly have a toad, crocodile, and for alligator? If we can find some, maybe I could talk to them about becoming staff members too. Razor hears every word you say, not just the idea, but the hope behind it. You relax on his snout, tiny and trusting, and he adjusts his posture again, lowering his head just a little so you feel even more stable. His movements are so slow and controlled now that it's clear he's treating you like something precious, something he refuses to jostle or endanger. When you mention the three creatures you hope to find, Toad, Crocodile, and for Alligator, Razor's eyes shifts, focusing forward and thinking. A huge body of water, a place where those three might live, a place he might know. His Razor doesn't speak, but his body answers. He lifts his head slightly, not enough to shake you, just enough to signal alertness. His nostrils flare, pulling in scents from the forest around him. He turns his head a few degrees, scanning the trees, the wind, and the distant sounds. Then he moves. One slow, careful step, then another, not wandering, not guessing, following something. His tail stays low, his gait smooth, every motion calculates so you don't wobble. He's guiding you, not randomly but with purpose, as if he knows exactly what you're asking about. And then he gives you the closest signal he can. He stops. He lowers his head again so you're closer to the ground, make sure you feel safe. Then, with the tip of his tail, he draws a shape in the dirt beside him. Not letters this time, but a rough outline. A long, curved shape. A wide center. A narrowing end. A lake. Then he taps the drawing twice with his tail. Once for yes, there is water nearby. And a second time for yes, creatures like the ones you described live there. He lifts his head again, eyes turning toward the direction he drew. A silent question. Do you want me to take you there? His posture is steady, his steps are ready, his entire body is prepared to carry you safely to the water's edge. And beneath all of that, in the way he holds you, in the way he listens, in the way he moves, he's telling you, you're not searching alone anymore. Okay, I love this flipping massive contours. He's such a sweetheart. He's like a gigantic, sweet puppy dog. Except he don't fucking like wag his tail. Well, actually, he kind of does. He ain't wagging like a dog would, but he's not. But he's being sweet, that's for sure. He's been pretty protective too. I like that. Give me a moment. All right, guys. I just look at the drawing that Razor wrote and say, perfect. I'd love to go see them if they live there. I want to ask you something real quickly. They're not aggressive porn, are they? I'm not going to get attacked by failure the minute I show up there. Razor hears the worry in your voice long before you finish speaking. He looked down at the drawing he made, then asked, small, nervous, and honest, yep. The moment the word attack leaves your mouth, Razor reacts, not with fear, not with tension, with something protective and steady. His head lowers a little beneath you, making your perch even more stable. His breathing slows, his eyes shift upward, watching with a calm, grounding focus. Then he answers you the only way he can, with his body. He shakes his head. Not a violent shake, not a quick one. A slow, deliberate, controlled movement, just enough for you to feel the gentle sway beneath your feet, but not enough to unbalance you. A clear, unmistakable no. No, they won't attack you on sight. No, he wouldn't take you somewhere dangerous. No, he wouldn't let anything hurt you. Then he does something even more reassuring. He lifts his head slightly, just enough to bring you closer to his eye, and holds still, completely still. A massive predator freezing his entire body just to show you, you are safe with me. I will not let anyone harm you. Not a Toto, not a crocodile, not a feral alligator, not a human, no one. His tail taps the ground once, a firm, confident gesture. Then he turns his head toward the direction of the lake again, waiting for your signal, letting one thing absolutely clear through his posture. If any creature near that water did react aggressively, Razor will put himself between you and danger without hesitation. He is not taking you there blindly. He's taking you there because he knows it's safe, and because he intends to keep it that way. You feel the steady warmth of his breath beneath you, the calm strength in every controlled movement. Razor is ready to carry you to the lake. All right. All right, guys. Razor doesn't need words to understand the excitement in your voice. The moment you say, okay, I really love those Pokemon. I can't wait to meet them. Let's go, my friend. Something warm and steady moves through him. A quiet, powerful certainty. You feel it in the way his muscles shift. Oh my gosh. You feel it in the way his muscles shift beneath you. Not tense or abrupt, but smooth and controlled. He lifts his head just a little, giving you a better view of the forest path ahead. His breath rolls out in a deep, calm wave, warm against your tiny body. Then he begins to walk, slowly, deliberately, each step placed with absolute precision. He keeps his head level so you don't wobble. He keeps his pace gentle so you don't slip. He keeps his body angled slightly forward as if shielding you from anything that might appear ahead. Oh, heck no. I'm about to get. Hey guys, I think there's a wasp about to torture me again. I hate bugs, dude. Why do these little idiots keep coming into our house? The forest reacts to them. Birds go quiet, leaves tremble, small creatures scurry away, but Razor's movement stays soft, almost silent for something so massive. He's not moving like a predator, he's moving like a guardian. As he walks, he glances upward with one eye, checking on you, making sure you're still comfortable, still safe, still happy. and he sees your excitement, your trust, your eagerness to meet the Toadal family. Still gives a slow, content sway, not wide, not careless, just enough to show he's pleased. The path begins to slope downward, and you hear it before you see it, the distant rush of water, the soft splash of movement, the echo of something large shifting beneath the surface. Razor slows even more, not out of fear, out of caution for you. He lowers his head slightly so you're closer to the ground, giving you a better view as the trees thin and sunlight glitters off a wide, shimmering lake. Ripples move across the surface. Something splashes near the reeds. A shadow glides beneath the water, big, powerful, and familiar. Razor stops at the edge of the clearing. He doesn't step forward yet. He doesn't make a sound. He doesn't disturb the water. He simply stands there, steady and unmoving, letting you take in the sight of the lake where Toadal, Cronon, and Fragger might be waiting. His posture says everything. We're here. You're safe. And I'm right beside you. Oh my gosh. I hate bugs. This is not good. I'm almost done anyway. And I'd like to at least get to the part where I can at least see what the Toadal and Cronon Fragger are like. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It's just seeing the beautiful lake and seeing the movement of the creatures in the water. I smile, but still worried slowly about getting attacked. So I just calmly say, "Hello? Is there a Toadal clocking on for alligators here?" Don't your tiny voice calls out across the water. Oh no. Razor reacts before anything else does. Not with fear, not with tension, but with readiness. His body shifts just slightly beneath you, lowering his head a little so you're closer to the ground, make sure you feel safe. His stance widened, his weight balanced, every muscle prepared to move if anything in that lake even thinks about rushing you. But nothing rushes. Instead, the lake answers slowly. The ripples near the reeds pause. The splashing quiets. The shadow beneath the surface stops drifting and becomes still, listening. Uh-oh. Then, from the far side of the lake, something small breaks the surface at the Toto. A blue head, red eyes, and a wide, curious grin. I love how he has a grin on his face already. A Totodile! He blinks at you, water dripping from his snout, his expression not aggressive at all. More like a child who just heard someone call his name and isn't sure if he imagined it. He tilts his head. Then another shape rises beside him, taller and broader, with a yellow belly and a jagged jawline. A crocodile! He doesn't growl, he doesn't bare his teeth, he just watches, cautious but not hostile, eyes looking between you and Razor. And then the water behind them swells, not violently, not threateningly, just big. A massive shape rises from the depths, water cascading off heavy blue scales, powerful arms, and a crest that glows in the sunlight. A feraligator. He stands half submerged, towering even from the water, but his posture is calm, steady, controlled, and not aggressive. His eyes log on the Razor first, assessing him, measuring him, recognizing him as a predator of similar size. Razor doesn't flinch. He doesn't posture. He simply stands tall and still beneath you. A silent message. This tiny one is under my protection. The Fragger's gaze shifts to you. Not hostile, not angry. Curious. The Toadal pals a little closer, chirping softly. I love him. Carl stays behind him, watchful but not tense, and the Fragger remains where he is, massive and calm, waiting to understand what's happening. No one attacks, no one lunges, no one even looks like they want to. Razor's presence and your gentle voice have set the tone. The lake is quiet, the three-pointer listening, and Razor stands like a living shield beneath you, steady and unmoving. They're waiting for what you say. All right. I need money. All right, guys. After seeing Toadal, Chronon, and Fragger show themselves, and especially after seeing Toadal's cute little grin, I smile and wave at them with my tiny claw. I'm sorry to have disturbed you. I just want to talk with you. Me and this Master Dinosaur isn't here to hurt you or anything. Just please don't attack me or anything. The moment your tiny claw lifts in a wave, and your gentle voice carries out across the water. Yep. Something shifts on the lake. Not danger, not aggression. Something softer. Toadal reacts first. His little blue body bobs in the water. And when you wave, he actually waves back. Okay, that's just cute as frick. A tiny excited wiggle of his whole arm, like he can't contain himself. His grin widens, his eyes bright, his tail splashing once in a happy little arc. He chirps, a high, friendly sound, and pals a bit closer, but not too close. He's curious, not reckless. Kronos steps in next. He places one clawed hand gently on Toadal's shoulder, keeping him from getting too excited. His expression is cautious, but not hostile. His eyes flick from you to Razor, back to you. He sees how small you are. He sees how careful Razor is holding you. He sees no threat. His posture loosens. Fragger's the last to respond. He rises a little higher in the water, but not in a threatening way, more like he wants a better look. His massive head tilts slightly, and his eyes narrow in concentration, studying you the way a leader studies someone new. He doesn't growl. He doesn't roar. He doesn't charge. Instead, he slowly lifts one clawed hand out of the water and places it gently back down. A greeting. A calm one. Razor reacts too, but only to protect you. The moment you express fear, Razor shifts his stance between you, lowering his head slightly so you feel more secure. His body becomes a wall of steady muscle, ready to move anything even thinks of harming you. But nothing tries. The lake stays peaceful, the pond stays calm, and Razor stays still, letting you speak for yourself. The three warpoint watch you with growing curiosity. Toadal, excited, friendly, and eager. Coral, cautious, protective, and evaluating. Feraligatr, calm, powerful, and thoughtful. None of them show aggression. None of them look like they want to attack. If anything, they look surprised that someone so tiny and gentle is calling out to them. They're listening, they're waiting, and Razor stands between you like a living fortress. Make sure you feel safe enough to continue. I'm debating where I should go ahead and do one more. You know what? Let's ask them about the job, and then see how they react, and that will be a good ending spot. If I decide to come back to it, I at least need to give my little take on it anyway, and tell the original one how it went. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It just says, I smile at the point, especially at Toadal and Fragger for being so nice and gentle instead of instantly attacking me. I know it's going to be an odd question to ask, but I'll three of you like to have a job helping me out at a special robot factory? I'd love to have you while working there if you want. I can explain more a bit later, but I want to go ahead and say this right now. The reason I'm asking is because I love all of your species. Totals, crocodiles, and fraggers are amazing to me, and I'd love to have you working there alongside me. Total was the first to react. Don't let your gentle, hopeful words reach the water. Something bright and warm sparks across the lake. Total's reaction is instant. His eyes widen. His grin somehow gets even bigger. He lets out a happy, chirping trill and splashes in a little circle, tail wagging so hard it sends ripples across the water. He looks at you like you just offered him the greatest adventure he's ever heard of. Chronon reacts next. He places a steadying claw on Toadal's shoulder again, not to stop him, but to keep him from launching himself straight onto the shore in excitement. Chronon's expression softens. He studies you. He studies Razor. He studies the way Razor is holding you so gently, and something in his posture shifts. A quiet acceptance, a sense of this tiny one mean, a sense of This tiny one means no harm, and maybe needs us. He gives a small nod. Not dramatic, not slow, not showy, just a calm, thoughtful yes in body language. Freger's the last to respond. He rises a little higher in the water, towering but calm, water cascading off his scales. His eyes lock onto you, not with suspicion, but with a deep, steady curiosity. Your words about loving its species, your sincerity, your tiny size, your courage to speak despite fear, it all lands. Freya's chest expands with a slow inhale. Then he lowers himself slightly in the water, a gesture of respect, of non-aggression, of "I am listening." He lifts one clawed hand out of the water and places it gently against his chest. A silent, powerful answer. "I hear you. I understand you, and I'm not rejecting you." Razor reacts too, but only to support you. The moment you speak with love and hope, Razor's entire posture softens. His tail gives a slow, pleased sway. His head lifts just a little, proud of you. Proud to carry you, and proud to stand beside you as you speak to others. He doesn't growl, he doesn't posture. He simply stands as your silent guardian, letting the water point see that you were protected, valued, and worth listening to. Then something beautiful happens. Toadal paddles closer, just a few feet from shore, and turns silently at you. Colonel follows, slower but steady. Freger moves last, powerful but calm, stopping where the water is still deep enough to support his size. All three are watching you now, not with fear, not with aggression, not with suspicion, with interest, curiosity, and a growing willingness. They're not saying yes yet, not fully, but they're leaning toward it. They're open, they're listening, they're waiting for you to tell them more. And Razor stands beneath you like a living pillar, steady and proud, letting you take the lead. Alright, guys, I'm going to do one more just so I can at least get the flipping part about telling them about the job real quickly. Give me a moment. Alright, guys, I think this is where I'm going to finish up. I just smile at seeing the point coming closer, and I just say, honestly have the perfect job for all three of you. And don't worry, I'm not gonna be like humans that would potentially catch you and boss you around. You would honestly get so much love and care working for me, because I'll actually treat my staff with love. I'm just very tiny and really need help around the robot factory when it opens. I even have the perfect job for you three. Toadal, you seem to be extremely kind and very sweet, and you'd be perfect to be able to greet the people and creatures that decide to come in. Crawdon for Alligator, you two seem extremely strong. If you want to help me out, you both could be security guards. Would you three like that? Toto, Crawl, and Fragger all react to your words in their own distinct ways, and the moment you explain the jobs you imagine for them, something changes on the lake. Not fear, not confusion, something warm and something hopeful. Toto reacts first, explosively and adorably. The second you say, Toto, you'd be perfect to greet the people and creatures that come in, Toto's entire body lights up. He lets out a high, excited chirp and splashes in a little circle, tail wagging so hard it sends water everywhere. He looks like he's trying not to launch himself onto the shore in pure joy, greeting people, meeting new friends, being the first face everyone sees. He loves it. He paddles closer, stepping just at the water's edge, eyes sparkling at you. Connor reacts next, steady and thoughtful. When you say, Connor, for Alligator, you two could be security guards. Connor straightens, not aggressively, but proudly. His chest puffs out just a little, his posture firms, his eyes sharpen with focus. He looks at you, then at Razor, then back at you again, and nods. A slow, deliberate nod. He likes the idea. He understands the responsibility. He's taking it seriously. Fragger reacts last, and his reaction is powerful. When you speak to him, your voice tiny but sincere. Fragger's eyes soften in a way that would shock anyone who only knew him as a dangerous Pokemon. He lowers himself in the water, bringing his Mass Effect closer to your level. Not looming, not threatening, but respectful. Your words about loving his species, your promise not to treat them like humans do, your tiny size and huge heart, it all hits him deeply. He places one cold hand over his chest again, a gesture of acceptance, of pride, and of, I will protect you. Then he gives a slow, powerful nod. A leader's nod, a guardian's nod, a yes. Razor reacts too. Proud of you. The moment the three waterfalls show interest, Razor's entire posture shifts into something warm and steady. His tail gives a slow, pleased sway. His head lifts just a little as if he's proud to be the one carrying you. He stands tall, calm, and confident, showing the water trio that you are someone worth following. The lake becomes quiet. Then, something beautiful happens. Toe steps fully out of the water, waddling towards you with excited little hops. Cornell follows, slower but steady, placing himself slightly between Toadle and any danger, a natural protector. Fragger rises from the lake, water cascading off of him, and stands at the shoreline like a massive, calm sentinel. All three look at you, not with fear, not with suspicion, not with any hesitation, not with acceptance, interest, and a growing sense of belonging. They haven't spoken, but their body language is unmistakable. They want to join you, they want to help you, they want to be part of your factory. And Razor stands beneath you like a proud guardian, letting you take the lead. Hey! You know what? The ending of it was kind of abrupt, but I, I I'm done. I mean, the beginning of it was kind of bad, but at least it went uphill from there. That was good at the end. Yee! Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye bye, everyone.